the first time that I am broadcasting live from a Zoom into a Facebook event. So we're really high tech today, and I could not figure out how to make myself a host to get it done. So here we are. Thank you, Angelina and Cheryl, for helping me and trying to figure out life. So welcome to becoming the healthiest and happiest you. My name is Melissa McQueenie. I am a coach. I've been a coach for 4.5 years now. I'm a therapist, a mental health therapist, and I am a wife, a mom of 3. I have 3 kids. Kaylin is 16, Declan is 11, and Matica is 7. And I love to talk about mindset and all things mental health. Obviously, my background is in therapy, and what I have found through exercise and through running is the connection and how strong the connection is between moving your body and how good you feel. So I kind of put this webinar together, and I do it every so often, every couple weeks, every couple weeks it seems, to just kind of give my story and give my thoughts of what has helped me to change my life. And I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about my background. I was a smoker from high school until like all through life. I never envisioned myself to be a smoker through my whole life, but I think that when you start that habit, you kind of don't realize how addictive it is. And so I went from being active in high school, riding horses, that type of thing, to being a sedentary adult. And I always wanted to be active. I always kind of passed those people on the streets that were running and were impressed by them, but totally couldn't even imagine myself in that life. And so I started having kids. I had my first daughter when I was only 24. And I didn't want to be that mom. I was so embarrassed to be this person who wasn't active, as I said, and was a smoker. And I lived in such shame and like guilt for a long time. And finally, I would quit smoking when I had my babies, and then I would resume. Literally, like my brother-in-law would like wheel me out in a wheelchair after having a C-section to have a cigarette. Like that's who I was. And when oldest daughter was about 9 at the time, I had just had my 3rd daughter. So I had her in January, resumed smoking, of course, because why would you not do that? And broke my ankle. And my oldest daughter, signed up for a running club with her school. She was running her first 5K, and I brought her that day with the family. And I sat on a bench in this stupid boot because I had broken my ankle. I broke my ankle going outside to have a cigarette in the winter, and I slipped on the steps, but I never told my mom that. I told her I was going to start my car. And so I was watching my daughter run this race with all of her friends from school, all the parents, teachers, all my peers, like my peers, her peers. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, this is it. Like, I cannot live this life anymore. And I'm not going to be this mom that's sitting here on the sidelines watching my kids do things and just feeling sorry for herself. So, like anything, it takes a while to make these changes actually happen. But that was the day that I just said enough is enough. And I signed up for my first 5K that fall and started Couch to 5K in my driveway. I would do it when my daughter was sleeping. I didn't stop smoking at that point. I ran and then smoked cigarettes because why not? But that was when the ball got rolling. And that's why, like, and I'm getting a little sidetracked, but I really talk about baby steps, because if someone had told me that time, you have to stop smoking in order to start running, I don't know that I would have done it. I needed to do things on my own terms, and that made sense to me. It made sense to me to start moving my body. And then once I fell in love with running, it made sense to me. I said to myself, okay, I have to, it would help me a lot more in my running if I didn't smoke cigarettes. So I don't know what that is, that noise. Okay, I don't know what that is, guys. I'm sorry. But so anyway, so it had to be a series of events for me. It couldn't just be all or nothing. So if you want to start moving your body, you don't have to quit everything. You don't have to do, all the things in order to be healthy. Just start that one singular step. So now, these are things, and the reason that I do this webinar continuously is because these are basic concepts that you will learn. If you're on a personal growth journey, you'll hear these all the time. These are not going to be new things that you hear, but sometimes it takes time to hear them and implement them. And I know for me, I've been on this personal growth journey for a few years now, and it's still, even though you hear people say, well, this worked for me, sometimes, I don't know, you're stubborn or you may not really understand the impact of it. So I'm just here with those reminders that this stuff works. This stuff has worked for me. It's worked for countless other people. And so I just want to share what has worked for me. So number one is mindset. And I sort of developed this webinar back when COVID was just starting. And one of the first things I put, in my notes is be informed, but shut off the news. But this is something that is, I feel like, all the time, not just COVID related, not just quarantine related. Stay informed with what's going on in the world and know the limit to that. Having the news on, being consumed in the news is depressing, and it will just bring your mood down. So I'm not saying don't be involved in stuff that's going on around us. It's important to be, but absolutely know that limit for yourself and know how much can you take without bringing your mood down. Because I know, I'm sure you guys have people in your life that have the news on constantly, and they're probably not the most positive people. So just be aware of how much you're consuming and how far you're getting into that. That's sort of like how I kind of view Facebook right now. It's like, and of course I'm live on Facebook, but it's a more negative place, right? Like sometimes I just want to run away screaming. I've had to do some unfollowing and like revamping how I'm viewing things on Facebook, because it can be such a negative place. So I try to do whatever I need to do on there and then get out of there. So just know your limits with those things and know how to shut it off if you need to. So from the minute I get up in the morning, I start my morning routine, and that involves reading personal development books. It involves listening to podcasts, listening to Audible. I know I talk to a lot of people and they say well, I don't have time to do that. And you really have to just get real with yourself, how you're spending your time and how you can be utilizing your time to your advantage. So this stuff is so important because you're flooding yourself with positive thoughts. You're flooding yourself with, things that are going to empower you and give you strength and let you know how you can control your day. So these are so important. You can listen to podcasts in the car when you're getting ready in the morning. I listen to usually an Audible book when I am cooking dinner. My kids hate it when I play them in the car, so I try to be mindful of that. But when I was driving them to school all the time, the minute they got out of the car, I put something back on. So I really try to use my time. I love music, but do I get the same, things from music as I do from personal development? Not all the time. If I need a boost of music, I absolutely do that. But just know that you can fill this into your day, into just tiny crevices. One of my first experiences with personal development was listening to Darren Hardy. He has a Darren Daily, he calls them, but it's a daily text message. Literally the video is 3 to 5 minutes. Everyone has time for that. And he just has positive information for you to use in your personal life, in your business life, whatever the case may be. So even if you feel like you can't fit it in, I'm sure that you can at some point. If you can't change your first thought that you think, right? If you're somebody who is more negative or not used to thinking positively, you can't change that first thought that you have, but you can always change your second thought. So just be aware of that. Be aware that even if you wake up and say oh my God, I just spilled my water on myself, this is going to be the worst day ever. You can then say, no, it's not going to be the worst day ever, because I'm not going to let it be the worst day ever. If this water spilled on me, my car won't start, my kids are fighting, but you can turn it around at any point. So, you know, I used to be that way. And it's funny, Mike, you've posted things like from your time hop when they come up about like humdrum, like wah, wah, wah. I have the same ones, like my life is so annoying, you know, this person did this and this person did that. And I can't stand seeing that I ever used to post that. But, you know, we can't change back then. We can only change going forward. And I refuse to let, you know, things that happen in my day take over my whole life. It just can't be all encompassing. And one book that I really, really, really love is Miracle Equation by Hal Elrod. Hal Elrod changed my life with his Miracle Morning. This is where all of my morning routines came into play back in 2017. And Miracle Equation is even better, I feel like. And one of the things that's so powerful that he talks about in that book is if you have something that happens to you, something bad, something sad, something makes you angry, something frustrates you, you have 5 minutes to feel all those feelings. So give yourself, set a timer on your phone and let yourself feel all the feelings. Cry, scream, pout, whine, whatever you need to do. And then when that timer goes up, that's it. You let it go and you move the F forward. You don't stay stuck in those feelings anymore. And, you know, I know some people will say, oh, well, maybe he didn't have serious things he was experiencing. This guy was in a car accident and he was told that he would never be able to walk again. And he used that activity. He just overcame a very, very severe cancer. So it's not like he didn't use these things with serious things going on in his life. It's not just, you know, spilling water on your pants or something. You can change your mindset with whatever it is you're going through. And you have to look for the rainbows. You have to look for the good, which it's all about gratitude. And that is one of my like main activities in the morning is writing down 3 to 5 things every single day that I'm grateful for. I started that back when I first read Miracle Morning in 2017, August of 2017. So it's been 3 years now that I've done this. I used to do only three. Now I have 5. And sometimes if I can only come up with 4 or I'm sitting there like thinking about it too hard, I just let it go. Like as long as I have 3, I'm fine with that. There is always something to be grateful for. And that can vary. Some days when I'm writing my gratitude, I'm not in the greatest of moods, but I have a roof over my head. I have food in my fridge. I have people on Zoom who are working out with me. I have, you know, books to read. I have a working car in my driveway. There's so much. I have legs to walk on. I could go on forever, but there's always something to be grateful for. And the more that you get into this habit, the more that you will see these things. So what happened when I started this, I wasn't always, you know, I'd be like, what am I grateful for? My husband's an asshole, my kids suck, you know, whatever. But once you get into this habit, you start looking for them like, oh my God, like yesterday, Kaylin, my 16-year-old, if anyone has a teenager, you know how tricky that can be. And she sat and she talked to me for like 45 minutes in the kitchen. And I sat and I was like, I could write like 5 gratitude things about this because it's amazing. So just look for those things, look for the parts in your day that you can say, hey, this is one of those moments that I can write about tomorrow in my journal. So, and it becomes easier. This is all stuff that becomes easier and easier over time. The more that you do them, the more that you'll see, you know, what is happening in your world that's good, and it's incredible. And another book is Gratitude Diaries. I've read it. I think this is my 3rd time I'm reading it currently right now, and it changed my marriage. And it almost changed like how I did therapy too, because there's so much research about how gratitude alone can get people through the most traumatic of events, grief and loss, and how it's utilized in some psychiatric inpatient hospitals. So it's like, and I think people, like I've talked about this on my lives before, like I think sometimes people are like, really, Melissa, like I'm paying you whatever amount for a session of therapy and you're telling me gratitude? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Gratitude, just gratitude, rinse and repeat, move your body, rinse and repeat. So I have a list. I have so many personal development recommendations, but Miracle Equation, Everything is figure outable. If you're new to the personal development world, or maybe you're one of those people that doesn't feel like they have a lot of time to read, Audible, it can just talk to you. And I find like Grant Cardone, like I love when he talks to me or shouts at me. But if you are like a more of a TV watcher, Brene Brown and Rachel Hollis have documentaries on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So that's a really great intro into the personal development world. So check those out. So number one was mindset. Number two is intentionality. And, it's kind of how, yes, Mike, yes, repetition. It's like the most mundane, boring things that you just do day in and day out that are amazing. So intentionality, what are your goals? What are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? Where are you spending your time? Who are you spending your time with? When we want to do something, we have to be intentional about it. I was talking to one of my challengers today, and she was like, I'm so stressed out, blah, 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 blah. And I said, did you go work out? And she was like, no, I just don't think that's going to happen. Well, no, it's not going to happen unless you make it happen. Your workout doesn't just happen. You have to make it happen. You have to write it in your calendar. You have to treat it like an appointment that you have to go to, and then you get to cross it off in your book. And that's so exciting. So really, really do it. Be intentional. Where are you spending your time? Open your phone and look at where you're spending your time and how much time you're on these different apps, different games. What are you doing? Do a time audit. We all have the same amount of hours in a day. And one thing that was really powerful, and I know, Mike, you saw this story. I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Rob, who is that? Whatever, doesn't matter. Rob, whatever. And he was saying that the average person reads 6 books a year. And the average CEO reads, Rob Dial, that's it, yeah, reads 100 books a year. So like, a CEO who's running a freaking company, you think they're not busy? And they are making the time to read these books. So my point is, just be intentional with your time. If it's important to you, you're going to make it happen. And so write down your goals. What are your goals, and how are you going to reach those goals? Like for me, before I saw my daughter run that first 5K, I had, in every single year, I would write from my New Year's resolutions that I wanted to run a 5K. And that was it. I didn't make a plan. I didn't look at the steps that I needed to take in order to run that 5K. I would just write it down and hope for the best. Like as if that 5K was going to tap me on the back and say, hey, Melissa, you want to come run me? Like that's not going to happen. So what do you want to do, and how are you going to do it? And be real with yourself. So a part of that is eliminating things that are not serving you. Like for me, when I really got serious about my business as a coach and living my healthiest life, I had to make sacrifices. And really, it's been really easy with COVID because there's so much time here. But before that, it was like, okay, before that, I ran a lot with friends who lived further away from me, like maybe 45 minutes away, which to me would be no big deal. Who cares about driving 45 minutes? On my day off that I could be pumping out work on my side hustle, driving 45 minutes, then running and maybe going out to lunch and then driving back another 45 minutes is the whole freaking day. So, I had to eliminate things because if you want to get to your goals, that has to be done. If you're a people pleaser, you have to look, is this serving me? Is this bringing me closer to where I need to go? How many hours do I need to do such and such? Yes, a time audit is so helpful. And really being real about that. Like, that's why I say to my coaches, find out how long it takes you to get through your daily business activities, because you need to know that. You need to know how I know when I sit down to work, how long it's going to take me, as long as I focus. And yeah, are you a yes person? This was a huge one for me so I had it all backwards, right? I thought that being a good mom meant that I was PTO president and Girl Scout troop leader and play dates every weekend and sports and this and that. And what was happening was I was less than everything to all my roles. I was spreading myself so thin that it wasn't enjoyable. It didn't make me a good mom. When I went to PTO meetings, my kids were in aftercare down the hall with teachers. When I ran PTO events, they weren't with me. It wasn't time I was spending with them. Girl Scout meetings, my kids were always the worst when I was running those meetings. Like we had to swap like roles. Like I would swap with my other leader. Like I would discipline her kid and she would discipline mine. That wasn't time as a mom well spent. It was frustrating and it was awful. And I'm not saying you can't do other things, but for me, I knew that these things needed to go because what meant something to me was actually spending quality time with my kids. Sitting down and being able to read a book, sitting down and watching a movie, playing a game, going to the park, for a hike. And I had to be real with myself. Does being all these things, being all these leaders, being all these things, does that make me a good mom? Absolutely not. Not in my case, at least. So you have to look at yourself and what can you cut out, and is your goal. Like I write down my goal every single day is to be a patient and loving mom. So that makes me look at my activities that day and say, if, I'm frustrated and I'm mad and, I'm letting myself be a victim to my environment, am I providing that for my kids? Am I being that patient and loving mom? And it takes a lot of soul searching and a lot of saying like, well, I have to figure this out in order to be that. Because what would happen before I started all of this is I would go to bed at night and be like, I feel like shit. I yelled at each of my kids probably a dozen times. And what did we accomplish today? How did I get to that goal of being a good mom? And I didn't. So now that I can be more aware of these steps that I take to be that, it's really, really helpful. And honestly, it's a running joke in my house too, because one of my other goals that I write is to be an exceptional wife, which is a hard one for me. Because sometimes I just want to be like, ugh. But I know that that's a goal for me. I know that I want to be a good wife to my husband. So like the other day I snapped at him and I apologized and I was like, that was not exceptional. And he was like, no, it's not exceptional. So we have like this joke about it now, but it holds me to those standards for myself. So I say, is this what I want to be? Is this how I want to present? Is this no matter who's looking, right? Like, because at the end of the day, even if no one else can see you, are you proud of how you're showing up? Okay. So, and you have to practice saying no. Practice saying no and just rinse and repeat like those other things. It is so empowering to set boundaries and to tell people no. And I always joke, there was this race. I used to run a lot, and for different celebrations, we always had different celebrations for people's big races. And my friends always use chalk and like chalk all the courses and cheer people on. I hate chalk. And this was when I was practicing saying no, and somebody came up to me with like a big of chalk and they were like, here you go, Melissa. And I was like, no, I don't want chalk. And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'm just practicing saying no. I don't want to play with chalk. And it was just a funny story. But number 3 is accountability. Accountability is everything. If you have a goal and you don't have somebody holding you to that goal, just like I talked about with my husband being me being an exceptional wife to him and me being a patient and loving mom to my kids, if I don't have accountability for that, that can easily be thrown out the window, right? Like if I said that goal of running a 5K and I didn't have somebody following up with me and saying, hey, when's that 5K? How's your training coming? What sneakers are you wearing? Are you still wearing those, 10-year-old sneakers that you bought for $10? You can easily let go of your goals. So you have to have accountability with anything. And, a lot of this also has to, and I believe you have to do a time audit, see where your time is going, see where it can be better spent, of, depending on where you want to go. But also, who are you spending your time with? Are the people that you're spending your time with people who are also moving in a similar direction? Because when you have goals, you want to be around people who can push you and support you and encourage you. And if you're around people who are bringing you down or maybe doubting you or judging you, those are people you may have to let go of, at least for the time being, while you're pushing towards your goals. And this is a hard one. It's really hard because there may be some people in your life, like your family or certain friends that have been there for a long time, who are not currently serving your needs or your life. Some people really have a hard time, seeing others progress and they're staying stuck. So you have to be aware of that. And, I like to surround myself with people who are going to make me better. A lot of people who are here right now are people that challenge me and push me and support me. And it feels so good when you are doing something like this, like growing and looking at yourself and trying to be better, that you have people around you that are encouraging. You're the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with. So what does that look like? Do an audit on that. Who are the people in your life that you're around, and do you need to make adjustments in that list? It doesn't have to be forever, but at least until they can get to a place where they can support you, or I don't know, who knows? But just be cautious. It goes back to being intentional. When you are intentional with your time and intentional with the people that you spend time with. Like, I still have a lot of friends that are kind of friends that have been around for a long time, that when I'm with them, it sort of feels like I'm in high school again. I still see them, but it's limited, right? Like, it's not something I'm immersing myself with, because it's not growing me. It's not stretching me. When I'm with them, I'm the Melissa, 20 years ago, which was a whole lot different Melissa, as you guys know. So when you say your goal out loud, when you say, yes, Mike, yeah, you're totally right. And like, it's weird, like the friends that I'm talking about that were friends from like high school and stuff, they don't even the things that I've done don't even go on their radar. It's like, it doesn't even exist. It's weird. It's really weird, but and it's hard to like let go of people. And that's probably the hardest part for me. Like, and I've actually had to like do a lot of soul searching about this. Like, I don't ever like to let go of people. You always like have like warm and fuzzies from people that are in your life or part of your history, and it's hard, but it's worth it because you get to meet other people who are lifting you up. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. Like, the support that we have in our community is just unmatchable. So what we do as a coach, and there's a bunch of coaches on here too, is run challenge groups. And challenge groups are the ultimate accountability. It raises you up to a different level. I know, like, sometimes when I first started coaching, a lot of people would say, oh, I don't really want to post in a group, or I don't want to do a sweaty selfie or this and that. And what I say to them now is, like, the more that you dig in to that accountability, if accountability is there for you, freaking dig in, because that will hold you to your goals. As a coach, as I said, I've been in this for 4.5 years now. There is such a strong correlation with people who post in a group every single day versus people who don't. There are some people who are self-motivated and who can do it on their own and are just independent, or maybe had it part of their life before. But for somebody starting up a new journey, accountability is everything. So, and if you're uncomfortable posting your sweaty selfie, that's even more of a reason to do it, because that's how you grow. And that's another part of this journey for myself. Whenever something scares me, I know I have to do it, because I know I'm going to be a better person for it. So anything that like scares me, I'm like, oh God, that means I have to do it now. Like things like this, like I've never did these kind of things before, but it gets easier every time I do it. So if you have accountability, or if you need accountability, look for it, whatever your goal may be. There's people there to support you. Look for mentors, because, somebody who's either done it or doing it can really be helpful for you in your journey. But I talk about accountability all the time, because it's just been a total game changer. I know that as a coach, I have to show up. The minute that I signed up as a coach, I had no intention of running a business when I signed up. But when I signed up and saw that name, that, signing up as a coach, Melissa McQueenie, I was like, I'm a coach. And it just took on a life of its own from then. I started a Facebook like page and started posting about my journeys and started posting about my runs. And I knew that the minute I got my very first customer, I had to keep showing up. Because if I didn't show up, what kind of message would that be for that person? And now that I'm in the role that I'm in now, with a lot of customers and a team under me, where do you think the accountability is for me now? I have to show up. People have said, I had somebody tell me today, you are inspiring and you show me not to give up, or something like that. Like, you give me hope or not to give up. If I don't show up tomorrow, what is that person going to think? That's the kind of accountability that you have as a coach, because that person, I don't even know who that is. That's somebody on Instagram that's no connection to me. But if I don't show up, and what if she then thinks it's okay for her not to show up? So when you are in that role, you are just taken to a higher level. That's why when people come in and I'm talking to them about our programs, I always recommend coaching, because coaching lifts you to a different standard. Helping people even on that basic level. Like, some people may never sign up with me, but just knowing that I've provided some positivity or some inspiration to them in their day so that they can continue is enough for me. And it keeps me going. Like, I can't even tell you. So this is why. So Mike, can you do me a favor? Has anyone entered the giveaway? Can you look on the event? Or Angeline, I don't know who's available.
I'll look it up right now. Let's see.
Okay. Well, while they're doing that, and I appreciate that, I'm just going to go into why this. So this is why I'm so passionate about what I do and coaching. And this has been, so let me just take you back a little bit. So I was running, as I said, a while. I'm going to wrap this up, but I ran, and I was part of a running community that I really felt so passionate about. And it felt good. Like, it felt almost like I was just talking about our coaching community does now. People who are supporting you, cheering you on at the finish lines, having big goals, going after big dreams, wanting to run this mountain, this length, this distance, this whatever. And it was inspiring. And then the group took on a mind of its own, and there was all sorts of drama and people fighting. And my supportive, wonderful community was disintegrating before my eyes. And it was then that I realized how freaking powerful personal development is, because there was none in that. There was goal setting over there. There was support. There was encouragement. There was finish lines and cheering and all of that. But there was no personal development, which meant people were talking crap about one another. People were all in different crazy mindsets. So this is why coaching is so important to me, and our community, our challenge groups, our world of Beachbody, because we have the mindset component. We know that if I start talking crap about Megan, where is that going to lead me? That's not going to bring me up. That's going to bring me way down, because what does that do? So we are taught in this community to stay in our lane, keep moving forward, support each other to the best we can, shut our mouths if we can't say something nice, right? And go around the people that bring you joy. That's why these live events are so powerful, because it's just all of this positive energy into one place. So this is what I recommend for anybody to do. If you are, okay, Okay, thank you, Angelina. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys my information, and if you are interested in changing your life the way that my life has been changed, I absolutely recommend joining us. Let me just share my screen. We're not going to do a giveaway because nobody did the giveaway. I don't get it. I guess I'll go shopping on Amazon tonight. Okay. I'm going to share. Oh, no. We're going to go here. Are you guys sharing, seeing it? Okay. So if you're interested in joining, these are the current deals that we have going on now. We have a fantastic sale with our newest program, MBF, which is actually kicking my ass right now. But the package this month is incredible. It is the new program, MBF, the weighted cordless jump ropes that come with it, an entire year of Beachbody On Demand, which gets you all of our programs other than MBF plus MBF, obviously. 10 rounds is coming into the library, what, September 1st or something? It comes with an entire year of Shakeology. It comes with both of our nutrition programs, the 2B Mindset and the Ultimate Portion Fix. And it comes with me as your coach and my challenge group for support and accountability. And that is the option 1, the basics. And option 2 is the essentials, which is just added Energize. That's my unicorn magic that I drink every single day. So I'm going to, and then all I need to know is your email address and your flavor of Shakeology. So I don't know if you want to, oops, how do I get back to that? Okay. If you want to take a screenshot of that, I'll put that up again. And then I'm going to put, okay, 1 second. While I look for this link, does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, then I'm going to put this into the chat. Okay. Well, there's so many comments in the chat. Oh, it's all my, oh, hi. Hi, Olga. Okay. Oops, I just sent that to Angelina privately, which is not good. Okay. There we go. So that is the landing page that you would use if you wanted to check out the other stuff too. Oh my gosh, yes. I feel like I need to read all this. Oh yeah, Darren Daly is awesome, right? Yes, yes, yes. I love it. So yeah, Mike is saying everything. I mean, he's been a coach for forever too. And it's, yeah. So it's so funny that you say that. He said setting up a calendar shouldn't feel like a chore. Being intentional with your time. It makes me laugh because through coaching, we have like systems that we keep in touch with people, right? And I have in my daily thing, like to touch base with my husband, to touch base with each of my kids. Like that helps me be intentional. Back before COVID, when I would not see them for hours, you know, we had some space between us. I would make sure that I touched base with each of my kids daily, like a real, like, even if it was 5 minutes, like, hey, how was your day? How did, you know, whatever. And that's part of my like system that I keep track of people. So when I reach out to some people, it makes me laugh when they say, remove me from your list. And I'm like, okay, my list is not about sales. It's me being a better person. It's me being a better friend. You know, I said to my team the other night, like, you know, when I pick up my messaging for the day as in my coaching job, you know, it reminds me to say, oh my God, this person said her divorce was going to be final this week. I got to check in with her. This person's going through chemo. I have to see how she's feeling. Like, it's not always, you know, so malicious. Like, people have this negative connotation. Oh, I'm on a list. You're on a list so I can be a better person to you. So I can check in with you, see how you're doing, see how you're handling life right now, because it's freaking hard. So, you know, I don't know, that just being intentional is not a bad thing. It keeps me, my little ADD mind, in check, and it keeps me focused and moving forward. And so I really look to things in my life. Is this moving myself forward? Is this keeping me focused on myself and taking care of myself? Is this moving my family forward? Is this helping my relationships with them, because that's the most important thing to me? And B, is this helping my business, because that's a huge component of my life right now. And if they're not serving any of those things, I don't know if it's going to happen. If it fills my soul, sure. But if it's not, then it's got to go. It's got to be something I say no to. So thank you guys so much. You know, feel free, as I said, to, if you need me, I'm going to actually put those screenshots or those slides into the group, and I am going to put that link in there too. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for bearing with me in the beginning with all of the technical difficulties. And if you have any questions, you need any recommendations of personal development books, I'm happy to help you. All these people can probably give you recommendations too. And there's so many, and there's so many different subjects. So seriously, like, if you're struggling with, you know, anxiety, there's things for that. Stress, there's things for that. There's things for everything. So reach out. And I'll actually put one of my favorite PDF lists of books in the group too. So thank you guys, and have a great night. Bye.